Maya Chen sat in the back corner of advanced physics, her black hair falling like a curtain across her face as she scribbled notes in her worn notebook. To her classmates at Meridian Academy, she was practically invisible, just another quiet Asian girl who never spoke unless called upon, who ate lunch alone in the library, who somehow managed to blend into the background of every social situation. They had no idea that the same hands now carefully writing equations had strangled 3 enemy agents last weekend. "Miss Chen," Professor Williams called out, making several students turn around to locate her. "Can you solve this orbital mechanics problem?" Maya looked up, her dark eyes meeting his briefly before she stood and walked to the smartboard. Her movements were fluid, economical, betraying none of the deadly grace that had earned her the code name Whisper in certain circles. She picked up the stylus and began working through the problem, her calculations precise and swift. What her classmates saw was a shy girl solving a complex equation. What they didn't see was someone who had used these exact orbital mechanics to calculate the trajectory of a railgun shot that had eliminated a target from 3 kilometers away while accounting for the rotation of a space station. "Excellent work," Professor Williams nodded as Maya finished. She gave the smallest bow and returned to her seat, disappearing back into her self-imposed invisibility. The bell rang, and students began filing out, chattering about weekend plans and upcoming exams. Maya packed her things methodically, each item placed in its exact position in her backpack. Organization wasn't just a habit for her, it was survival. Everything had its place, everything served a purpose. "Hey Maya," a voice called out as she reached the door. She turned to see Jake Morrison, one of the more popular students, jogging to catch up with her. He was tall, blonde, and carried himself with the easy confidence of someone who had never known real danger. "I was wondering if you'd want to study together for the upcoming test?" "I could really use help with the quantum mechanics section," he said, flashing his practiced smile. Maya studied his face for 0.3 seconds, reading micro-expressions most people couldn't even perceive. Genuine request. Slight nervousness. No deception detected. He really did just want study help. "I usually study alone," she replied, her voice soft but clear. "Come on, it would help both of us. 2 heads are better than 1, right?" Jake persisted. Before Maya could respond, her phone buzzed with a specific pattern. 3 short, 2 long, 1 short. Her handler was calling. High priority. "I have to go," she said, already moving away. "Maybe tomorrow then?" Jake called after her. But Maya was already disappearing into the crowd of students. She made her way to the old maintenance tunnel beneath the academy, a route she had memorized on her first day. The tunnel connected to the city's underground transit system, providing multiple escape routes if needed. Maya had never attended a school where she hadn't mapped every exit within 24 hours. In the tunnel's deepest section, she pulled out a second phone, one that officially didn't exist. The screen showed only a number she recognized instantly. "Whisper," she answered. "Priority 1 assignment," came the familiar gravelly voice of control. "Imperial Intelligence has placed a high-value target at the Nexus station. Elimination required within 72 hours. Maya's stomach tightened slightly. Nexus Station was a massive orbital platform that served as a neutral meeting ground for various galactic powers. Security there wasn't just tight, it was legendary. The station was considered impregnable by most intelligence agencies. Most agencies didn't have Maya Chen. Target identification? Admiral Thorn Vex of the Centauri Empire. He's attending the peace negotiations, but our sources confirm he's planning to sabotage the talks and launch a surprise attack on human colonies. Hundreds of millions of lives are at stake. Maya closed her eyes. She had killed before many times, but always knowing it was necessary. Always knowing that her actions saved more lives than they took. The weight of it never got easier, but the mathematics were simple. 1 death to prevent millions. Understood. Transmission of mission files? Incoming now. Cover story is already prepared. You're attending the Youth Science Symposium on Nexus Station as part of Meridian Academy's gifted program. Transport leaves tomorrow at 0800. Maya's phone chimed as the encrypted files arrived. She had 18 hours to prepare for a mission that most seasoned operatives would consider suicide. One more thing, Whisper. Control's voice carried a note of concern she rarely heard. Imperial intelligence knows someone is coming. They don't know who, but security will be at maximum. Whatever you do, maintain your cover. If your identity is compromised. I understand, Maya replied, and ended the call. She stood in the tunnel for a moment, letting the weight of the mission settle over her. Then she straightened her shoulders and began walking back toward the surface. She had homework to finish and a cover story to prepare. 20 minutes later, Maya sat in her small apartment, surrounded by textbooks and mission files. To any observer, she was just a dedicated student, preparing for both exams and an academic trip. The truth was far more complex. She opened her laptop and began researching Nexus Station's layout. The official blueprints were publicly available, but Maya accessed 17 different black market sources to compile a complete picture of the station's security systems, patrol routes, and structural weaknesses. Her phone rang, her normal phone this time. Hey Maya, it's Jake. I got your number from the class roster. I hope that's okay. Maya frowned. She had been careful to keep her personal and professional lives completely separate. Jake's call was an unexpected variable. It's fine, she said carefully. Look, I know you said you like to study alone, but I'm really struggling with this quantum mechanics stuff. I was thinking maybe we could grab coffee before the trip tomorrow? I saw you're on the list for the science symposium too. Maya's blood chilled. Jake Morrison was going to Nexus Station. A civilian, someone she had begun to classify as harmless, would be in the same location where she planned to assassinate an Imperial admiral. I'll think about it, she managed to say. Great. The transport leaves pretty early, so maybe we can sit together and go over the material during the flight? After Jake hung up, Maya stared at the phone for a long moment. In all her years as an assassin, she had never had to operate around someone she knew personally. Classmates weren't supposed to become complications. She opened her mission files again, this time looking for any mention of the student delegation. 12 students from Meridian Academy would be attending the symposium, including herself and Jake. They would be staying in the civilian sector of Nexus Station, while Admiral Vex would be in the heavily guarded diplomatic section. Maya began calculating the distance between sectors, security checkpoints, timing of diplomatic sessions, civilian tour schedules. Her mind worked through hundreds of variables, plotting potential approaches and escape routes. The smart thing would be to request extraction, to let someone else take the mission. But Maya knew there was no one else. She was the only operative who could move through Nexus Station's defenses undetected. The only one with the specific skill set required for this elimination. She would just have to make sure Jake Morrison stayed in the civilian sector, safe and unaware of the deadly mission unfolding around him. Maya opened her closet and began selecting clothes for the trip. To her classmates, she was packing for an educational experience. In reality, she was choosing which disguises would best serve her mission. The navy blazer could conceal throwing knives. The bulky sweater would hide body armor. The innocent-looking backpack contained compartments for weapons and surveillance equipment. As she packed, Maya found herself thinking about Jake's friendly smile, about Professor Williams' encouraging nod when she solved the equation, about the normal life that surrounded her like a warm blanket. For 5 years, she had maintained this cover, attending classes and taking exams, while secretly conducting some of the most dangerous missions in known space. It had been the perfect balance. Until now, for the first time, her two worlds were about to collide on Nexus Station, where the fate of millions hung in the balance, and where one quiet girl would have to prove that humanity's deadliest weapon was often the one no one saw coming. Maya finished packing and reviewed her mission parameters one final time. Tomorrow, she would board the transport as Maya Chen, gifted student. But somewhere in the depths of Nexus Station, she would become Whisper once again. The question was whether she could complete her mission without losing the careful cover that had protected her for so long. And whether Jake Morrison would survive being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Maya closed her laptop and tried to sleep, knowing that tomorrow would test every skill she had learned in her double life. In 18 hours, The quiet girl in class would once again become the deadliest assassin alive. But this time, she wouldn't be alone in the shadows. The transport to Nexus Station hummed quietly through hyperspace, carrying Maya and 11 other Meridian Academy students toward what everyone believed would be an educational experience. Maya sat by the viewport, watching the swirling colors of hyperspace, while her classmates chatted excitedly around her. "Amazing how they built something so massive just floating in space," Jake said from the seat beside her, peering out at the approaching station. Nexus Station was indeed impressive. A kilometers-long structure of gleaming metal and transparent aluminum, shaped like a massive ring with docking spokes extending from its central hub. Millions of lights twinkled across its surface, indicating the thousands of ships, facilities, and living quarters that made it a city in space. "The engineering is remarkable," Maya agreed, though her eyes were cataloging defensive positions, weapon emplacements, and structural weak points, rather than admiring the architecture. "I bet you'll win the physics competition here," Jake smiled. "The way you solved that problem yesterday was incredible." Maya's enhanced hearing picked up conversations throughout the passenger cabin. Her classmates discussed their upcoming presentations, worried about making good impressions, and planned which exhibits they wanted to visit. Normal teenage concerns. She envied them their innocence. "Attention passengers," came the pilot's voice over the intercom. "We are approaching Nexus Station. Please prepare for docking procedures." Through the viewport, Maya could see the massive docking bay opening to receive their transport. Swarms of security craft moved in careful patterns around the station. Imperial fighters, human defense force ships, and vessels from a dozen other species, all maintaining the delicate balance that kept Nexus neutral territory. As they docked, Maya felt her phone vibrate once, a signal from control, confirming her mission parameters remained unchanged. Admiral Vex was still on the station, still planning his attack on human colonies, and still needed to be eliminated within the next 60 hours. The students were processed through security with the efficiency that made Nexus Station famous. Maya submitted to the scanners and searches, her specially prepared student identification passing all checks. The fake weapons in her luggage triggered no alarms. They were designed to register as science project components and lab equipment. "Welcome to Nexus Station," announced Dr. Sarah Foster, the academy teacher chaperoning their group. "Remember, we're guests here. The station hosts beings from dozens of species. So be respectful and stay with the group." Maya nodded along with the others, but her mind was already working on how to separate herself from the group when the time came. The student dormitory was in Civilian Section C, while Admiral Vex would be in Diplomatic Section A, nearly 3 kilometers away, through some of the most heavily guarded areas in known space. Their quarters were comfortable but basic. Maya shared a room with Sarah Kim, another quiet student who seemed as overwhelmed by the station's grandeur as Maya was supposed to be. While Sarah unpacked and gushed about the upcoming symposium, Maya used her tablet to access the station's public network. "Oh wow, look at this," Sarah said, pointing to a news bulletin on her own device. "There's a major diplomatic conference happening right now. Representatives from the Centauri Empire, the Andromedan Collective, and dozens of human worlds are negotiating some kind of peace treaty." Maya made appropriate sounds of interest, while her tablet downloaded detailed maps of the station. Through careful navigation of public databases, she located Admiral Vex's known schedule. He would be attending a formal dinner tomorrow night in the diplomatic sector, the perfect opportunity for elimination. "Maya, want to come with us to the observation deck?" Jake appeared in their doorway with several other classmates. "We can see the entire Centauri fleet from there." "I need to review my presentation," Maya replied, which wasn't entirely a lie. She did need to review her mission presentation. After the others left, Maya began her real preparation. From her suitcase, she assembled what appeared to be a sophisticated science project. Actually, a portable weapons fabricator disguised as a molecular analyzer. Within an hour, she had created 3 different assassination tools: a nearly invisible monofilament wire, a delayed action neurotoxin capsule, and a microscopic explosive charge. Her tablet chimed with an encrypted message from Control. "Intelligence update. Imperial forces aware of potential threat. Admiral Vex has tripled personal security. Suggest alternate approach. Maya studied the updated intelligence files. Admiral Vex was indeed taking no chances. His security detail now included 12 Imperial guards, 2 combat androids, and a personal energy shield generator. Direct assault was no longer viable. She needed to be smarter. Maya changed into her darkest clothes and prepared to scout the station personally. The official tour wouldn't show her what she needed to know about security patterns and structural access points. For that, she would have to go where students weren't supposed to go. The maintenance corridors of Nexus Station were vast and complex, designed to allow service crews to reach every part of the structure without interfering with normal operations. Maya moved through them like a shadow, her enhanced training allowing her to avoid the automated sensors and security patrols. She reached an observation point overlooking Diplomatic Section A just as Admiral Vex was returning from a meeting. Even from a distance, Maya could see he was impressive, tall, broad-shouldered, with the bearing of a career military officer. His guards moved in perfect formation around him, alert and professional. But Maya also noticed something else. One of the guards wasn't quite right. His movements were slightly off, his positioning not quite standard Imperial protocol. After 5 minutes of observation, she was certain one of Admiral Vex's guards was actually a human intelligence operative. This changed everything. Maya retreated carefully through the maintenance tunnels, her mind racing through new possibilities. If human intelligence had an operative close to Admiral Vex, there might be other options besides assassination. But her orders were clear: eliminate the target. Command must have reasons for not trusting alternative approaches. She made it back to the civilian sector just as her classmates were returning from their tour, full of excitement about the alien technology they had seen. Maya, you should have come, Jake said as she met them at the dormitory entrance. The artificial gravity generators alone are worth seeing. And the weapon systems. He paused, looking slightly troubled. I guess they need all that firepower to keep the peace. Station defense is certainly impressive, Maya agreed, thinking of the dozens of ways those same weapons could be turned against any ship trying to escape after an assassination. That night, as Sarah slept peacefully beside her, Maya lay awake planning her approach. The formal dinner would take place in the station's most prestigious dining facility, surrounded by delegates from across the galaxy. Security would be intense, but the large crowd might provide cover. Maya's tablet displayed the guest list for tomorrow's dinner. 300 attendees, including diplomatic personnel, senior military officers, and distinguished civilians. She noted with interest that Dr. Foster had received an invitation. Apparently Meridian Academy was held in high regard throughout known space. An idea began forming. The next morning brought news that changed everything. The station's communication system crackled with emergency bulletins as reports flooded in from human colonies along the Centauri border. Massive Imperial fleet movements detected, the announcements reported. All human vessels advised to avoid Sector 7 until further notice. Maya felt a chill that had nothing to do with the station's climate control. Admiral Vex's plan was already in motion. Whatever attack he was planning, it was beginning ahead of schedule. She found Control's emergency contact protocol and sent a coded message. Timeline acceleration detected. Request immediate extraction after mission completion. The response came back within minutes. Negative. Station quarantine due to increased tensions. Complete mission and maintain cover until situation stabilizes. Maya stared at the message. She was trapped on Nexus Station with a mission to complete and no way home. During the morning symposium session, she presented her fake research project on advanced crystalline structures in zero-G manufacturing, with the same quiet competence she brought to everything. The judges were impressed, but Maya barely noticed their praise. Her mind was focused on the evening ahead. Congratulations, Jake said after her presentation. That was incredible. I had no idea you were working on anything so advanced. Thank you, Maya replied, watching as Dr. Foster received confirmation of their group's invitation to the diplomatic dinner. It's just theoretical work. As the day progressed, Maya made her final preparations. The neurotoxin would be her primary method, nearly undetectable. with delayed action that would allow her to be far from the scene when Admiral Vex collapsed. She concealed the capsule in a brooch that perfectly matched her formal dinner attire. But as evening approached and Maya prepared for what might be the most dangerous mission of her career, she received an unexpected message on her personal phone. "Maya, are you feeling okay? You seem really distracted today," Jake had texted. "I know formal dinners aren't really your thing, but I'm looking forward to sitting together tonight." Maya stared at the message, realizing with growing horror that Jake expected to sit with her at the dinner. The same dinner where she planned to assassinate Admiral Vex. The same dinner that might erupted into chaos when Imperial security discovered their admiral had been murdered. For the first time in her career as an assassin, Maya Chen felt truly afraid. Not of death or capture or mission failure, but of the possibility that her actions might harm someone who had shown her only kindness. As she put on her formal dress and concealed her weapons with practiced efficiency, Maya faced the terrifying prospect that tomorrow night might force her to choose between completing her mission and protecting the one person on Nexus Station who had tried to be her friend. The quiet girl in class was about to discover that being the deadliest assassin alive meant nothing when your heart was involved. The grand ballroom of Nexus Station was a masterpiece of diplomatic architecture. Designed to accommodate beings from dozens of different species, it featured adjustable gravity zones, atmosphere filters, and seating arrangements that could be modified for everything from insectoid Therian delegates to the massive Ursinian representatives. Tonight, it hosted the most important peace negotiations in a generation. Maya stood at the entrance beside her classmates, wearing a simple black dress that concealed more weapons than most security teams carried. To her left, Jake adjusted his formal jacket nervously. To her right, Dr. Foster checked her tablet for seating assignments. "Remember," Dr. Foster addressed the student group, "you're representing not just Meridian Academy but all of humanity tonight." These negotiations could determine peace for generations. If only she knew, Maya thought grimly, that one of her students was here to ensure those negotiations would fail in the most permanent way possible. The massive hall was already filling with delegates. Maya's enhanced vision picked out security personnel from a dozen different species, all trying to blend into the crowd while maintaining protective positions around their respective dignitaries. The Centauri delegation sat at the head table, with Admiral Vex clearly visible in his elaborate dress uniform. "Wow," Jake whispered beside her. "I never thought I'd be in the same room as people who make decisions for entire star systems." Maya scanned the Admiral's security detail, noting positions and alert levels. The disguised human intelligence operative was still there, though he seemed more tense than yesterday. Something had changed. "Miss Chen?" Dr. Foster appeared beside her. "You've been specially requested to sit at table 7. Apparently, your presentation impressed some very important people." Maya's blood chilled. Table 7 was in the central section of the ballroom, with clear sightlines to the head table, but also maximum exposure. It was the worst possible position for an assassination. "I'd prefer to stay with my classmates," Maya said carefully. "I'm afraid it's not optional." Dr. Foster smiled apologetically. "The Centauri Science Ministry specifically asked for you. They want to discuss your crystalline research." Jake looked disappointed. "I guess I'll see you after dinner then. Try to have fun." As Maya was escorted to table 7, she realized with growing alarm that she was being separated from her cover story and placed under direct observation. Either this was terrible luck, or someone suspected her true purpose. She was seated between Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a renowned physicist from Earth, and Commander Zara Voss of the Andromedan Collective. Both were pleasant enough, but Maya noticed that Commander Voss's hand never strayed far from something concealed beneath her formal jacket. "Miss Chen," Dr. Tanaka smiled warmly. "I was fascinated by your work on crystalline structures. Such advanced thinking from someone so young." "Thank you," Maya replied, while her peripheral vision tracked Admiral Vex's movements. He was engaged in animated conversation with other Imperial officers, gesturing toward data displays that showed fleet positions along human borders. "Tell me," Commander Voss interjected, her alien features unreadable, "what draws a young human to such complex scientific pursuits? Most your age are more interested in entertainment than research." The question seemed innocent, But Maya detected subtle probing. "I find patterns interesting," she answered truthfully. "Complex systems often have simple solutions if you look at them the right way." Complex systems on the right way. Ideas. Indeed, Voss nodded. "I imagine such thinking could be applied to many fields beyond science." Maya's enhanced hearing picked up fragments of conversation from the head table. Admiral Vex was discussing something called Operation Starfall with his subordinates. Fleet positions, timing coordinates, target priorities, enough information to confirm that the attack on human colonies was imminent. She palmed the neurotoxin capsule, calculating approach vectors and escape routes. The Admiral would need to leave his table at some point during the evening. When he did, she would have seconds to act. "Attention, honored guests," a voice announced over the ballroom speakers. "We are pleased to present tonight's cultural exchange program." The lights dimmed as performers from various worlds took the stage. Maya used the distraction to study her target more carefully. Admiral Vex seemed relaxed, confident, completely unaware that death sat less than 20 meters away. Then everything went wrong. As the performers reached their crescendo, Maya's earpiece, the one that officially didn't exist, crackled with an emergency transmission from control. Whisper, "Abort mission immediately." Repeat, "Abort mission. Intelligence indicates trap. Extract yourself and maintain cover." Maya's blood turned to ice. A trap. But it was too late to abort. She was already in position, already committed. Moving now would only confirm whatever suspicions had been raised. Commander Voss leaned closer. "Miss Chen, you seem uncomfortable. Perhaps the artificial gravity is affecting you?" "I'm fine," Maya replied. But her mind was racing through possibilities. Who suspected her? How much did they know? And how could she complete her mission without walking into whatever trap had been set? Her questions were answered a moment later when Admiral Vex stood and began walking directly toward her table. "Dr. Tanaka." The Admiral's voice carried clearly as he approached. "I understand you have a promising student with you this evening." "Miss Chen, I believe?" Maya stood politely as protocol demanded. Every muscle in her body coiled for action. The Admiral was flanked by 4 guards, with 2 more maintaining overwatch positions. The human intelligence operative was among them, his hand resting on his sidearm. "Admiral Vex," Dr. Tanaka beamed. "Maya is indeed exceptional. Her research on crystalline structures could revolutionize manufacturing." "Fascinating." Admiral Vex smiled, but his eyes were cold as they studied Maya. "Tell me, Miss Chen, have you considered military applications for your research?" Maya met his gaze steadily. "I prefer peaceful applications." "Sir, how admirably human," Vex chuckled, and Maya caught the subtle insult in his tone. "Though I suspect there's more to you than meets the eye." The moment stretched like a taut wire. Maya calculated her options. The neurotoxin was still viable if she could get close enough. But the guards were too alert. A direct attack would result in her death and mission failure. And Jake was somewhere in this room, along with her other innocent classmates. "Admiral," Commander Voss interrupted smoothly, "perhaps we should return to our table? The negotiations resume in 30 minutes. "Of course," Vex nodded, but his eyes never left Maya. "Miss Chen, I hope we'll have another chance to talk before the evening ends." As the Admiral returned to the head table, Maya felt sweat beading on her forehead despite her training. The trap was closing, but she still didn't understand its full scope. Her answer came in the form of an emergency bulletin that suddenly flashed on all the hall's display screens. "Terrorist threat detected on Nexus Station. All diplomatic personnel to secure positions." Security lockdown initiated. The ballroom erupted in controlled chaos as security teams activated emergency protocols. Delegates were quickly escorted to designated safe areas, while heavily armed response teams swept the hall. Maya found herself being herded toward a secure area along with the other civilian guests, including her classmates. Jake caught up to her in the crowd. "Maya, what's happening?" he asked, fear evident in his voice. "Security drill, probably." Maya lied, while her trained eyes tracked the movements of the response teams. This wasn't a drill, it was a deliberate disruption of her mission. As they reached the secure area, Maya felt a hand on her shoulder. She turned to see Dr. Foster. But the expression on her teacher's face was nothing like the kind educator from that morning. "Maya Chen," Dr. Foster said quietly. "Or should I say, Agent Whisper? You need to come with me." Maya's mind went blank with shock. Dr. Foster, the woman who had chaperoned their academic trip, who had praised her fake science project, who had seemed like the most normal person on Nexus Station, was apparently much more than she appeared. "I don't know what you're talking about," Maya replied automatically, but she could see the futility in the lie. "Agent Sarah Foster, Human Intelligence Division," her teacher revealed. "Your handler Control sent me to extract you when the mission went sideways. But first we need to deal with Admiral Vex." Jake stared at them both in confusion. "Maya, what is she talking about? Who's Agent Whisper?" Before Maya could respond, the secure area's blast doors suddenly slammed shut, emergency lighting activated, and the unmistakable sound of weapons fire echoed through the corridors outside. "What was that?" someone screamed. Dr. Foster, Agent Foster, checked her concealed communicator with practiced efficiency. "Imperial forces are moving early. Admiral Vex just gave the order to seize Nexus Station. Operation Starfall isn't just an attack on human colonies, it's a complete takeover of neutral space." Maya felt the pieces clicking into place. The peace negotiations were a distraction. Get all the major powers' representatives in one place, then eliminate them and claim the station. "Exactly," Foster confirmed. "Which means our mission parameters just changed. Admiral Vex can't be allowed to succeed." "Mission?" Jake's voice was small and confused. "Maya, please tell me what's going on." Maya looked at her classmate, this normal, kind boy who had wanted nothing more than help with homework and friendly conversation, and realized that her two worlds had finally, inevitably collided. "Jake," she said gently, "I'm not exactly who you think I am." The sound of cutting tools began working on the blast doors. Through the reinforced walls, Maya could hear the distinctive whine of Imperial energy weapons and the heavier reports of human slug throwers. "They're cutting through," Foster observed. "Maya, I need to know right now. Are you ready to complete this mission? Because if we don't stop Admiral Vex in the next hour, this war will consume half the galaxy." Maya thought of the millions of innocent people on human colonies, of the families that would be destroyed, of the children who would never grow up to attend academic conferences on space stations. She thought of Jake's confusion and fear, of her classmates trapped in this secure area, of the life she had built that was crumbling around her. Then she thought of Admiral Vex's cold smile and his casual dismissal of human life. "I'm ready," she said, and meant it. Foster smiled grimly and handed her a proper military-grade sidearm. "Then let's show these Imperial bastards what happens when they threaten humanity." As the blast doors finally gave way and Imperial stormtroopers poured into the secure area, Maya Chen, the quiet girl in class, the deadly assassin known as Whisper, stepped forward to face them. Jake watched in amazement as the shy girl he knew dissolved, and something infinitely more dangerous took her place. Maya moved like liquid death, her borrowed weapon speaking with mechanical precision as Imperial soldiers fell before her advance. "Stay down," Maya called to her classmates over the sound of gunfire. "This will be over soon." And as Admiral Vex's perfect plan began to unravel in the face of human determination and ingenuity, Maya realized that sometimes the best way to maintain your cover was to abandon it entirely. The quiet girl in class was done hiding. Tonight, the galaxy would learn why humanity had survived every threat thrown at them, not because they were the strongest or the fastest, but because they were the most unpredictable. And right now, Maya Chen was the most dangerous human alive. The mission was far from over, but Admiral Vex had just discovered that some weapons only revealed themselves when you thought you'd already won.